Hey everyone, Romain here. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm joined with Linda and Marin, who are both recruiters for Job Squad. We're going to talk about the travel industry, traveling in general, how is it happening in 2021, what's going to happen, and what we think, we think the world is going on in 2021, recruiting wise, and also for your job market, the job opportunities you can find in this year, and hopefully how the world is going to open a bit this year. So I hope you enjoy. If you do, please follow us or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on Spotify, follow the podcast, and we're going to give you a little bit more insights every week. So have fun and enjoy. Thanks for being here today. So as I said, just to do a quick introduction of this setup that we're going to do, I'm going to give you all the different subjects, all different topics that I found, different facts or anything that I learned during the week, and every updates that we can have on the job market, job news, travel, and everything in between. And of course, like if you have questions and if you have information as well, feel free to give them, because the more we know, the better it is. So, as a quick introduction to have everyone in the mood, just wanted everyone to present themselves. So basically, I'm Romain. So I don't know why, but I think that's one of the hardest sound to pronounce in English, like the R that we pronounce in French. Like I don't know why, but I feel like when I pronounce my name in English, it just sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? I don't know, but in any way, so I'm in charge of marketing and actually working in marketing with you, Linda, for JobSquad. And so yeah, that's basically all I do in my life. Not everything. I'm doing also a bit of jobs on the side of photography and filmmaking, and yeah, that's pretty much it. How about you, Linda?
Well, my name has been said a few times. I'm Linda. I'm from Denmark. And after 5 years in Malta, I recently, last week, moved to France. I work with recruitment, a bit of marketing, trying to grow the company together with Lasse, who's not here right now, and together with you guys. So helping people get jobs around Europe. That's what I spent my day doing.
Nice. How about you, Marine?
So me, it's Marine. I am French. I'm living in Malta since 3 years, and I will move to France next Monday. So yeah, I am in the recruitment in Job Squad. I am a French recruiter mainly, also in Finnish, Italian, but yeah, and yeah, that's about me.
Nice. Well, I think like does it come that we all enjoy Malta and now we're all coming back to France?
It's a good question. For me, it's because of the
Especially,
COVID mainly.
yeah, mainly that could be one of the reasons.
I was just missing high taxes, paying so little in taxes confused you to go back to a country where there was high taxes.
Yeah, you forgot what it was, so it's kind of nice to remind yourself that yeah, we're paying taxes. Okay. So as we talked about, we talked about, of course, there is COVID happening, that we can't miss that, but also just to have a little heads up on what you guys think about how 2021 is gonna go for the travel industry in general. How are we gonna travel in the future, like in the year? Because like for the moment, many different countries are closed, or they ask for you to stay in quarantine for 2 weeks or anything. I don't know. How do you see that going in the few months and the months that are coming for 2021? Like Marine, if you want to start.
Yeah, for me it will be. I hope it will be better, because now we saw like even in 2020 we can still travel. It depends where, but we can still travel. For example, I have some candidates. They went to Greece in last June, and since June they travel a lot during the summer, and it was fast because in Greece, you can travel in Europe and everything. So for them, it was like as normal as I can say, because for example, we can travel like some country, like you have a quarantine, some ask for PCR test, but if you are lucky, if you are looking for the good opportunity, you can still travel. So I mean like 2021, it will be like kind of the same. We can still try to travel, try to enjoy it as we can, and try to find like the good opportunity to travel and to still visiting some country. And
Yeah, because you're gonna have the same thing. Like, do you need to stay in quarantine when you're coming back from Malta to?
no, I
No?
just have like a PCR test, but since the end of January, so it's like a kind of new, and it's just to Paris. But if you want, for example, to go to Paris from Paris to Malta, you don't need like a PCR test. So it depends. But me, I just need like a PCR test. I need some document, but it's kind of okay. You know, you can organize yourself, and it's easy. You know, so yeah.
That's all right. How do you see 2021, Linda?
I feel it's hard to answer. I mean, I just 1 year ago, I think exactly these days, 1 year ago, we still had our office in Malta, and
Exactly.
Marie and me and the other people in the office back then was just sitting, like trying to get a hold on this new virus that was emerging from China, and maybe some people had it in Europe, and people started getting a bit nervous about traveling. But me personally, and I recently apologized to one of our previous employees as well, and coworkers, that I was like, stop being so silly. It won't be that bad. Like, it's never bad in Europe. And just a year ago, and I haven't seen my friends and family for a year. So, the week after, we all took our computers and laptops and went away from the offices, both in Malaga and Malta and Copenhagen, and we haven't been back since. So I feel it's very hard to try and play the futurist and look into the future, but as it seems right now, we can still travel, but maybe don't go to too many crazy pool parties.
Yeah.
Bring your brain on your travel, and I think we're going to see what happened last year, that in the summer it's going to get better. It is a virus, it dies out a little bit in the summer, and we hopefully have the vaccine coming. But I think we're going to see that people are still staying within their own countries. Like last year, Danish people were exploring Denmark, French people were all of a sudden exploring France. With that being said, now I recently traveled myself from Malta to France to move. And I was told that I needed the PCR test, but nobody asked me. I filled out 5 documents at the airport. Nobody asked me.
Yeah, it's true.
Even though it's been a year, I am afraid that a lot of the airports and the authorities are still actually not completely ready, and they haven't put things in system. Like when you arrive in Malta, you just hand this paper in a box. Who's checking the box? Actually checking it. I think everybody has been a bit slow, because I think even the governments last year had maybe a hard time understanding how long this would go on. So everybody was a bit afraid of spending money doing anything digital. And now they're talking about this COVID pass. I think the next year we will still see that there's more restrictions coming, but it's going to be maybe more organized. So you actually know that there are the same rules within all countries in Europe. You need to have a test, you need to have a vaccine, maybe even to travel. You need to have your papers in order, and maybe you can even fill them out online, and you'll just scan or something when you board a plane. So I think we will still see some restrictions emerging. Maybe some of the other ones go away, but I think moving towards summer, we will be able to travel.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that you said was like the most interesting, is that I think all the governments they weren't expecting it to last that long, so they didn't want to invest that much in all the securities and controls and everything, and so that may be the reason that why everything is feeling a bit not really rock solid, because
like you feel like square one, because we still don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's exactly that. But I think you're right about that. It's just a reason that governments think it's gonna fade, but they don't want to invest that much. So yeah, it should be that. And you talked about also about having the vaccine to go. But do you think that it's gonna go like many different vaccines that you need to do to move from different countries? Like if you want to move to some countries in Africa or in Asia, you need to have like certain vaccines and everything. Do you think like the COVID is going to be like a mandatory one to travel abroad?
I believe it will be. It will be the same as when you're taking a vaccine for. I mean, vaccines are there to kind of get these diseases to die out, or at least affect us slower. We had some diseases was almost dying out just up to a couple of years ago, and then people started being against vaccines, and we actually saw some of these old diseases coming to the surface again. And now some people are angry. They are saying it's by force, that you need to have a pass and you need to take the vaccine. People are taking vaccines all the time to go travel. So why not add the COVID test as an extra vaccine? I mean, you already have to have 5 shots in your arm before you go to Asia. Add an extra. It's not going to make a difference.
No, that's true. That's very true. That's going to be interesting to see how fast it comes and how fast like we are able to put everything in that specific place. Do you guys have like any plans to move? I mean, Linda, you just came to in France, but do you have any plans that? Well, you don't move like boxes everywhere for the last.
I've been living in a box since May last year, so I think now I just unpacked. I will stay here for a fair amount of time.
For sure. But what about you, Marin? Do you like you coming back to France like for a long period of time, or do you want to move afterwards?
Me, for the moment, after I know that in Malta it's not the same situation like in France. For example, in Malta, it's better to live at the moment to live in Malta because we don't have a lot of restriction. For example, we can go to the restaurant, you can go to the bar, and we can go outside.
I miss that.
No, but I know it's like a kind of paradise for like during this time. So yeah, I can go if I want to go to the party, I can. If I want to go like, I don't know, and come back to my flat at 2 a.m., for example, I can. So I know.
Just have a look at Marin's tan versus my tan. Like
that's like...
Look at the sun. Yeah. Friends. Both of you friends.
That's white.
No, I joke. But now, after the COVID, I know that the flight, it's like, I can't take the flight when I want. During last year, I saw my parents, for example, in December, and after when the COVID began, I can say like I can't see my family since like almost a year, and it was too much for me. And now I want to go back to France mainly to see my family, to be close to my parents, my grandmother, my grandparents, and everything. So for me now, I want to go back to France and to enjoy with my family, my close friend, and everything. And after, I don't know. But I don't know because I went to Malta. I supposed to stay in 3 months, and after 3 years, I am still here. So I don't know, like in two years when I will be, I don't know. But now I need to.
Do you think that you move back to France faster because of the COVID? Like if let's say there's no COVID, would you have still lived in Malta the next year?
Yeah. Okay. I'm waiting to write in France since last summer. If I was alone, because now I'm living with my boyfriend, so we have to manage together and to take a decision together. But if I was alone, last summer I will be in France. For like definitively. Yeah. I'm not really sure because I never know. Like, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But for me, it's only because of it's mainly because of the COVID. Like, this situation is not very the COVID, it's the situation. Like, I can't travel. Like, I can't see my family tomorrow if I want, or it's it's mainly because of that.
Yeah, that is a bit hard. And talking about that, like, how do you think it's still like a good moment for people to try to get a job abroad? Because of course, like we know a lot of people are still a bit scared to move. They want to. Most of the people also, unfortunately, are losing jobs, or if they just graduated, they have a hard time finding jobs. Do you think like they can manage to have like success to find a job in another country, or do you think like it needs to be pushed back a few months?
Yeah, because sorry.
Oh, go ahead, and go ahead.
No, because if I take the example, like for example, it's better to live in Malta now. So for example, if you're living in France, if you want like to change, because I know like for example the restaurant are closed and everything is closed. So if you want to change, you can move abroad. And I have some candidates, they want to move abroad for this reason, and I totally understand. But to me, at this time, it's like personally, it's the opposite, because I miss my family and my close friends. So I want to go back to France. But I know it will be like totally different my life because I have to go back to at 6 p.m. I can't go to the restaurant. So I know this choice, but I know what my life will change. I know. But yeah.
You also try to live abroad, and I think it's a hard question to ask us, Roman, because we are a recruitment agency. We help people get abroad. So
Yeah, but
I'm
So
that's why I'm
move,
asking because
course
move,
you
guys! It's time.
but at the same time, I don't want to tell people to just travel, don't think about it. Think about it. Like, be cautious about what it means, because you can get stuck somewhere where you cannot see your family for a year. But when I think back of the years before I moved to France, now I lived in France 10 years ago, there was times where I was not home for 9 months or 10 months. That was no problem because I had the choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think when you've been locked in, if you graduated last summer, I feel so sorry for the people graduating last summer and couldn't party and couldn't travel and couldn't enjoy it. If you've been at home and stuck at home and you don't have a job, or you bought a backpacking trip through Asia but couldn't go, but just longing to get international experience, get to know a new culture, I don't see the big difference, honestly, from moving from one city in Denmark to another one to get a job, than to go to within Europe and wear your mask, take the test, don't go out partying crazy, but also stay a little bit real to yourself. I'm always asking my candidate, how is your gut feeling about this? Like, does your stomach feel all right? Are you nervous? Are you good nervous or bad nervous? What are you thinking about? But I think it's always better to have a job than not have a job. And if you're sitting locked in, it's boring, it's winter time, and you don't know what to do, but you always wished on moving abroad, COVID shouldn't hold you back. I mean, we're working with some really good companies, for instance, that are taking care of you when you arrive. Make sure that you can work from your new apartment and not directly from a big office. There's so many ways of doing it in a reasonable way that it shouldn't scare you that much. But you need to have yourself with it. So I can't sit and tell everybody, go abroad. Listen to yourself. But if you're sitting and you actually want to have this experience, now is a good time as ever to do it, because everybody else who's sitting at home having no jobs, their CVs are not improving. It's not improving to work in the local supermarket,
Yeah, that's exactly when you said that there was a hard question. That's exactly what I wanted to know. Because I knew, for example, like, as you said, like, it's the same right now from moving to one city to another than moving to another country, because you've got pretty much the same restrictions, and it's always going to be restrictions from at some point of view. But I think also that the fact that, I mean, moving to get a new job is just not something that comes up in 2 or 3 days. It's just something that you need to prepare, something that you need to be aware of, and prepare everything that is coming up with. Because I mean, getting a job is cool, but you also need to prepare. I mean, you've seen it, your boxes. You need to prepare your life and everything that is going to move with it, your papers and everything. So as I said, like, it was more in the question of like, is it a good time to plan? And as you said, like, it's also a good time now to plan it as it was before, because
some of the reason I had to plan a lot was I had a whole apartment I needed to pack down. I had a reservation I needed to close. I had a lot of extra paperwork. I also had a boyfriend that I needed to kind of prep. Okay, we're going for you. And I think the same with Marine. She's not alone. But if you are actually sitting and you're a single person, I've done that like 3 times. You stay with your parents, so you don't have an apartment you need to move out of. You don't have a whole things you need to pack down. And take the jump. As long we're working within Europe for Europeans. We are on call 24/7. I mean, the HR departments around are super sweet. So, as soon as the borders are opening, a lot of people will be flooding these jobs. So, even though it is a bit harder now and there's a bit more restrictions and everything, I don't see a reason why sitting at home being scared is helping anybody.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And that's a good point as well, is that even if right now, of course, like, there is a lot of industries that are being struck by this whole COVID situation, and they can't recruit, there's still a lot of industries that are recruiting. There's still a lot of people that needs employees and new hands. And I think that's really, I mean, I know that Maureen, you saw it as well. There is still like companies that are recruiting a lot. Yeah, and that's the main thing, is that like people mainly I think that people don't see, they see a lot of the, you know, big companies or big industries in general that are shutting down some jobs, but they forget to see everything that is developing on the side. Because I read an article like today as well from Euronews or something. I met someone that said that they were in a customer software development, and basically they said that they never had a crisis with a job employment. Like he just came out of school and found a job like in 1 month or something, because I mean the demand was still there. So that's pretty good to have too. So yeah, I think that's pretty important. One other topic that I found this week, we also had, like, for the beginning of January, we had the wonderful Brexit happening between France and Europe. No, obviously not France, but the UK and Europe. Yeah, I spent too much time in France, that's the problem. You know, I need to move abroad.
Want a job?
Yeah, why not? So yeah, basically the Brexit happening, and I stumbled upon as well one candidate that said that she tried to apply for a job late in 2020 in the UK and couldn't find any, because obviously many people were leaving the UK. Did you saw how it affected your job offers? Like, do you see like less candidates wanted to go to, I mean, the UK in general, or less companies that wants to hire in the UK?
We have companies that are on hold now, that we hire to. We still do hire to both Ireland, North Ireland and Ireland.
Interesting.
They are helping and supporting. And are you moving there for a job? It is still possible. There might be a bit more paperwork. And honestly, most of the jobs that we have there, we work together with other recruitment agencies where the HR department is bigger. So we're supporting the candidate from one side, and with the paperwork and everything that has to be done, it's getting supported from another angle that is local, so they know exactly what it takes. But for sure, we've seen a dip in that, both in interest in going, because people get nervous, so they choose to go somewhere else. But also in the demands, because, well, there's the whole thing about Brexit is they want to go local. So if they can find a local Englishman who speaks an okay French, why would they hire a Frenchman there? Like,
That's very true.
At least this is my opinion. We need to just wait and see what happens, because right now the deals doesn't seem to be super good on both ends. I think that will change, because the free job market somewhere or another, you know, maybe some of the companies will move out of UK. Who knows?
There is a good point that you said as well. Do you think, like, because we are recruiting like for a lot of different countries and people that speak different languages, as you just said, like, for example, it's better to have someone native that speaks the language, or someone native in the country that speaks okay languages. Do you think that companies in general value more someone that is native from the language, or someone that speaks really well the language? Like, for example, if I'm French and like I can speak Italian, I can't, but imagine I can speak Italian. I can speak Italian very well, but do you think companies value more having a really Italian candidate, or having someone that speaks really well Italian?
For example, Bahrain, if you have like the idea about.
I mean, some of it is, it's a lot of, when we say call centers, I feel like it has a bad thing to it, because it's not a call center. You're not sitting calling, you're sitting sending emails, answering chats, and receiving calls as well. But when you work in these places, you are working with the local markets. So even though you speak a language fluently, unless you live there, and you know, that's always individual candidates, everybody has their own stories. So if you would speak fluent and perfect Italian, maybe you also dipped into the Italian culture, you know, maybe you also knew that. But I think the companies value to have people who understand the culture. For instance, recently, I learned that in the call centers where Finnish people work, and in general Scandinavians, there's less phone calls for the support lines than there are for French, Italian, and Spanish, because French, Italian, Spanish, they like to speak to each other. They don't mind having a phone call. Whereas Scandinavians, if we can just handle it with a little text message, or we really don't want to talk to people, and especially apparently Finnish. So the HR from the call center said that if you work in the Finnish department, you shouldn't expect to get that many calls. It's actually more emails and chats.
That's
Um,
interesting.
and
Okay.
those are small things that if you just speak Finnish because you learned it, I don't know how, but you might not know this. You might not understand the culture or the way of greeting people. So the local touch is what we're doing, and why I think it's important to have locals.
But that's why also it's really important, as you said, like to like move abroad and understand the culture, like not just move abroad like for 2 or 3 weeks and just say, yeah, I've been there. And no, you didn't discover the whole culture. Like you need to spend a little bit more time. Like for example, Marin right now, there's been 3 years in Malta. You pretty get it how the country is working.
Half Maltese
Uh,
now.
Yeah.
No, but it's different because when you stay like, and for a lot of experience, when you stay like, as you say, like for only 2 or 3 weeks, it's totally different. You can't have time to visit. You can't have time to speak with local people, and it's totally different. And after 3 years, yeah, or even like 6 months, I think 6 months, a year, you can say like, okay, so now you learn the culture, you learn like a lot of things. And yeah, I think it's better and it's more interesting for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What about you, Linda? What do you think about the time to spend in the country to have like a proper cultural appropriation kind of?
I think the first month is training, is getting lost in the street.
Yeah.
Even the first 2 months, it's like understanding how you get the food that you want to eat. It's a lot of frustrations and it's a lot of new things. It's normally it would maybe be a lot of partying and meeting new people as well, getting settled in your flat, all these things. That is the part. It's also a lot of getting homesick, because the first months is where you see all your friends on Facebook and they're having parties and you're not there and you're there all alone. And so the first months, if you just spend those there, you don't really meet the culture. I think it's like maybe after the third or fourth month, you actually start to enjoying and know where to go. And the simple things like what supermarket to go to, what bar to go to, where to get your heels fixed as a girl. It's a small thing, but it's important. Um,
Mm.
all these stupid small things, what doctor to go to, you start to learn that, and that's when you also can learn how to appreciate the culture and actually understand, oh, what's going on with the election in this country. Why are they eating this food? Why is
Yeah.
the old lady speaking like you get to. So I think what Marine said is 6 months is probably the minimum I would
Yeah.
advise a person to be out, to be able to also say, I lived in this country.
Yeah.
Because I have a hard time when people say, I lived in that country for 3 months.
Yeah.
Wasn't it just a long holiday where you brought your work a little bit?
Yeah.
3 months is very short to get to know the culture. So I think after 4 months, you start actually knowing your way, and then 6 months, the last 2 months you have there, you really dipping into it. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, but that's all right. That's what I wanted to hear. That's good. So, if we talk about that, then I gotta ask you a question, Marin. So, how do you feel like Malta as a country is? Like you've been living there for 3 years now. So, how do you feel the country? What's the difference between the Maltese behavior and the French one?
My first word, it's more like cool, more Mediterranean, of course, and it's totally different because here, for example, I will speak about like my experience. I'm feeling so comfortable here. When I arrive in Malta, I'm not feeling like, okay, I'm totally lost for about like the culture, about the person, about a lot of things. I'm feeling like, okay, I am so comfortable, and Malta is for me, like, okay, I'm good here. And after, yes, it's like it's safe. People are so safe. They spoke together. It's totally different. They are so happy. They're yeah. I can when I'm moving the street, for example, I spoke a lot about it. Like when I move in the street at, I don't know, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. during like a dark street alone, a girl alone, like a dark street. When I passed like close to like groups of, I don't know, 10 boys, nobody's look at me. Nobody's, I never, I know it's not like the lovely the lovely country of the world, but I'm feeling so comfortable and so everything is cool, everything it's easy, it's fast, even for the for the administrative it's easy, and if I compare with France, it's easier, cool, and it's like a life of I am feeling in holiday after 3 years. Really.
Really
Everything
nice.
it's even for the bar or for the restaurant or for I'm feeling it's a holiday after 3 years. I can say that.
It's not a holiday right now.
I know.
It
That's
isn't.
why I insist.
It is not. It's definitely the opposite of that.
No, but it's true. I don't know, Linda, how do you feel in Malta? Well, not now, but before.
Well, I have a bit of the same story. I moved there to study, was supposed to stay
Yeah.
for 2 months, and 5 years later, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to move on. I don't know, like I felt super safe there. I actually have quite a lot of European cities that I've been to, either for work or for a quick weekend. And I always go after feeling like, could I live here? And it sounds weird because I might have no plans on moving to Barcelona, but I feel like it's a very livable city for very fair reasons. A lot of people speak English, which is unfair to compare. And if I move to another country, I should get to know their language, but people understand English. That's good for me in the beginning. Two, you can bike there, you can bicycle there, and I'm Danish. and I don't feel home if I have to take a car everywhere. So
That's true. Like I went to Copenhagen and I saw that it's just insane to see how many people are cycling. It's just like, especially that if it was like a really like sunny and warm weather, but like it's freezing a lot of the time and people are just like cycling for everywhere. Just like, all right, why not?
Companies, we don't have company car, but we have a company bike that you can borrow if your own broke down. So those are some of the points that are important for me, and I think that's again something I talk to my candidates about. Why are you interested in this city? Okay, maybe it's Athens, maybe they've been there to Greece before and they love Greek food, and and then I'm just trying to drag points out of them, like, would it be livable for you, the lifestyle that is there? Because one thing is that you want to try something new. The good thing within Europe is that we are more or less all the same. There is a difference in our humor, and the North sarcastic humor might not always go so well with the South of Europe, but more or less we're the same. We have the same ways of showering, going to the toilet. Like, it's fairly similar. You can always find some food that is slightly familiar to your own. So again, here, if you just go to a country for 3 months, you might only find the food and pick the food out that you find familiar. You might never actually get to taste the real food, because even the real traditional food is not from the traditional restaurant around the corner. That is most likely a tourist trap. But the local food is served by your friend's grandmother or parents. So when you get invited to those things, say yes. And with that being said, I heard a tip from a guy that used to travel a lot. And he told me, if you come to a new city and you want to find cheap, good food, go near a police station. And this is a tip that I got a few years back. And I actually tried it when I was traveling. If you find the local police station in the city, around there's always small, cool snack bars. The food are insanely cheap compared with other places. So that's just a little tip, little bonus info.
How's that? Because, I didn't know.
I didn't know either. Is it like because that's the oldest like buildings, so it's therefore how does that work?
The policeman gotta eat, I guess. I don't know, but it's always around a police station. There is like snack bars where you get, even in Malta, in Slema, if you go to the police station, still in Slema, which is one of the biggest city in Malta, where things are more expensive than in the rest of Malta. So, but if you go by the police station, the snack bars are actually cheaper. The beer in the bar there is actually cheaper than it is just around the corner, like away from you.
That's true. I've never thought of that before.
No, me too.
So that's a tip for going.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. No, but moving to a new city, I think you have to feel like it's livable, and I felt really welcome in Malta as well. But there's cities in Europe that I visited and I'm like, oh my God, it's a beautiful place. Like Zurich, I love Zurich. It's so beautiful, but I don't see myself living there.
Yeah.
For some,
Yeah, I think that's where you should you need to take a close attention and do a little bit of research before to see, like as you said, like it's a beautiful city, okay, but do you see yourself living there? Because there's a whole different world between like actually going there for like few days and seeing the city and then actually living there for a few months. So yeah, that's where you need to draw the line, I think.
yeah.
That's good. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. That was super cool. And I hope everyone got good informations about what we talked about today. So yeah, we're going to talk, I'm going to prepare everything for next week. I'm going to have different subjects, different matters. And if you guys have any other things that you want to add, yeah, please feel free. So yeah, see you guys next week.